Okay, so I'm going to try to do a little video here where I show you how to answer those questions with the Star and Planet Finder. So listen carefully as I go along, and you'll hear me talk about when I go to the next problem, because I'm going to show a view of the Star and Planet Finder. So listen carefully when I change problems, and hopefully this will be helpful to you. Okay, so the first question asks, name three constellations that you may easily view tonight at 10 p.m. Today is January 18th, and we're talking about the time of 10 p.m. So what I'm going to do is, on the Star and Planet Finder, I see the position of 10 p.m. right here, okay? 10 p.m. See 11 p.m., 9 p.m., 8 p.m., 7 p.m., 6 p.m. So 10 p.m. is right here. I'm going to set the date on the calendar part here, January 18th to 10 p.m. So when I do that, I'm going to just turn this wheel until January 18th, or approximately January 18th, is lined up with 10 p.m. Now, when I go outside tonight at that time, this is the view I'm going to be seeing, okay, in the nighttime sky. Again, the north side, east side, west side, and south side. Now, if you're pretty sharp, you're looking at this going, wait a minute. When I'm facing north, east is on the right and west is on the left. You're absolutely right. The way this thing is meant to be used is to flip it upside down. So now you're looking up underneath it. And now the east sky, when we're facing north. So if I were to turn around now and face north this way, right? You see the north upside down, right? Now the west is on the left and the east is on the right. So this is kind of a view looking up into the nighttime sky. And that's why it's set up that way. Okay? So when we put it back down on our table and we're looking at it, again, we have to keep in mind that east and west here are kind of flip-flopped because this is looking up into the sky. Does that make sense? All right, so now they want to know what three constellations, or name three constellations. There's more of them than just three, but name three that you could see. Well, obviously I have a small mark on my meridian line here, which is the zenith, which would be right up ahead, right up overhead, right here. And so all these things right in kind of the middle, this middle area of the Star and Planet Finder would be easily visible. Okay, ones that are closer to the horizon, right? This cutout oval here, this is the horizon. This would be the western horizon. This would be the south horizon. Excuse me. This would be the west horizon, or east horizon, excuse me. And then the north horizon up here, yeah. So these constellations in here would be easily visible. So any of these would work. So for example, if we zoom in a little bit here, you know, probably be able to see Aries, Perseus, Taurus, Auriga, Gemini, Cancer, Canis Minor, Orion, certainly, you know, Ursa Major, Camelopardalis, Cassiopeia. You know, many of these in this range in here would be easily viewable fairly high up, probably above any buildings or hills. Okay, so that's problem number one. Now, going on to problem number two, the question says, name a constellation that is just rising in the sky tonight at 10 p.m. and name a constellation that is just setting in the sky tonight at 10 p.m. So we're still set on January 18th at 10 p.m. And when I look at this, remember, all the stars over the course of a night move from the east, the eastern horizon here, right, move this direction over to the western horizon. So when I look at this, if I look at constellations that are just coming up off the horizon here, maybe like Crater, Leo's pretty far up off the horizon already, but maybe Crater here and Sextans, they're kind of rising at this time. And over here towards the western horizon, we see Pisces setting, and of course this is Pegasus, that's setting, so that would be a good answer. That's just kind of setting as at this time at 10 p.m. tonight, okay, and also Cetus here, okay, and so that's kind of how you remember everything moves over the course of a night from east to the west. So at this time of the night, these things are coming up off the horizon. These things are going to start to disappear below the horizon. Now that takes us to question 4, really. And question 4 says, name another month, day, and time at which you may view this same positioning of the stars. Okay, well, we have it set January 18th at, or close to that, at 10 p.m. So this is pretty much what we'd see tonight up into the sky if we looked upward. Okay, And so what you can do is, to answer this question, you can see that, for example, in February, maybe like February 19th or 20th there at about 8 p.m., that's what the Star and Planet Finder is also set to that time, right? In March, now again, in March, the sun's going to be still up probably about 6 p.m., so that may not be a great answer. But certainly in February, like February 20th at about 8 p.m., or February, maybe 2nd, Groundhog Day at about 9 p.m. Of course, January at 10 p.m., that's what we're set. January 18th at 10 p.m. is what we're set to. But let's see here, December, this past, last month on the 18th or 19th of December at midnight, we would have this setting as well. And then over here, November 18th at about 2 a.m., the sky would look like this as well. So remember, as the Earth goes around the sun, there are going to be different, the sky's going to reorient to this orientation at certain times in certain months. It just happens that today, on January 18th, it looks this way at about 10 p.m., okay? Later in the month, as we get towards February, the beginning of February, as you can see, this sky that we're seeing now tonight at 10 p.m. will be seen at 9 p.m., and that's because the Earth is going around the sun, and we're changing our perspective with respect to the stars. Okay, question number 5. Question number 5 says, on what day at midnight will the star Arcturus be on your meridian? So the first thing we have to do is find the star Arcturus, okay? And if you remember, if you could find the Big Dipper, which if I turn this a little bit, you'll see it in its more familiar orientation here, the Big Dipper. Right? And if you remember, I mentioned in class that if you arc around the Big Dipper handle, so if I start on the Big Dipper handle here and I arc around, kind of follow that arc around, the next really bright star, and it's a very bright star in the nighttime sky, will be Arcturus. So there is Arcturus. And the question is, at what time, at what day, at midnight, 12 a.m., will the star Arcturus be on your meridian? Excuse me. Okay. Oh my, excuse me. So now what we have to do is we're going to have to move this. And remember that string there that connects the rivet, right, the center rivet where the star Polaris is, with our southern, directly south direction. That's from north to south. That's going to be our meridian. So when the star Arcturus is on our meridian, it would be right about here. You notice that the star is now lined up with my straight line between Polaris and the South Pole, right? That's my north to south kind of line. And so Arcturus is on there right now. And so I'm interested in the date when we'd be able to see this at midnight. So what I have to do is on my Star and Planet Finder, I have to go find the time midnight. And when I look at that, it looks like it's going to be about April 26th at midnight. We're going to see the star Arcturus on our meridian. And as a matter of fact, here is the zenith, that little mark right there. So Arcturus is going to be very high in the sky. And, almost directly up, but this would be directly overhead. Okay? Now, question 6 says, at what time tonight will the star Capella be almost directly overhead on your zenith? So the zenith, if you remember, is that, again, if you use see, I marked my zenith on my string for convenience, but if we put our little device, you can open up your book that came with your Star and Planet Finder if you want, or you can, like I did, make a photocopy and then cut out a little strip there like a ruler. And again, remember the pole star, the 90-degree star on the celestial sphere is Polaris, so that gets lined up there. And you'll notice north horizon at about 40 north latitude would be 50 degrees on the celestial sphere, and minus 50 for the southern hemisphere, southern horizon. And so when we look at this, again, I marked my zenith, right, at 40 degrees north latitude. Your zenith will be at 40 degrees on the celestial sphere. So I put a little black mark on my string right there. I don't know if you can see it or not, but that's the zenith. That's the point directly overhead. Okay, right here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a little black mark on my string. Maybe if I rotate the string a little bit, you'll see it better. Okay? So now what I want to do is, I know the star Capella, if the question's correct, is going to pass through that point. So the star Capella must be somewhere along the line. If I rotate this, it should eventually kind of pass through that zenith. So I'm going to start to just look for the star Capella. I don't see Capella yet. That's Vega. Goes pretty close to Neb. And we just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Ah, here we see in Auriga, Capella. You see the star Capella right here? Star Capella right here. And so that's going to be very, very close. It's pretty much almost passing through our zenith there right now, right? You see again, the little black mark on the string right here. I don't know if you can see it. There's Capella very, very close to that. So Capella, when the star and planet finder is set like this, Capella is pretty much directly overhead. And they wanted to know at what time tonight, January 18th, will that happen. So now what I do is I go find on my star and planet finder, I find January 18th. And when I do that, January 18th is right about here. So it looks like it's going to be somewhere about 9:30, maybe just slightly before 9:30, maybe slightly after, but right about, maybe slightly before 9:30. It looks like it's a little bit to the right of the midpoint there. So maybe about right in here, just short of 9:30, maybe like 9:25 p.m. tonight. Directly overhead will be a fairly bright star called Capella. Okay, question 7 says, name 2 constellations that are always above the horizon or circumpolar at our latitude. Now remember, since the sky turns this way, remember this wheel is turning from east to west, this direction. So as we're viewing it from overhead, this wheel will turn counterclockwise, right? And so what constellations do we see here that will never set? Well, obviously, you can see Draco. To move this a little bit. It's upside down in the screen right now, maybe, but Draco right here, Camilla Pardalis, Cassiopeia, Cepheus, Ursa Major, which is what the Big Dipper's part of. What else here? Well, that's, so all these, Ursa Minor, obviously, that's the North Star is part of Ursa Minor, the Little Dipper. Canis, well, I don't know if that one will, let's see. Yeah, that one's going to pretty much disappear below the horizon for us. But it looks like Ursa Major pretty much stays above the horizon as we go around, as well as, of course, Camillo Pardalis and Cassiopeia and Cepheus, Ursa Major. Looks like Draco will just stay above the horizon, perhaps. Yep. Okay. So these would be, this is your circumpolar region. These are things that will go around the North Star over the course of a night and never really set below the horizon. Stars over here, of course, that are closer to this ecliptic line or the celestial equator tend to rise and set at different times of the year. They will have times when they are not visible. They're up here below the horizon and are not visible. Okay, but these circumpolar constellations are right around in here. Okay, now number 8, question 8 says, in what month of 2022 will the planet Jupiter be highest in the sky at 10 p.m.? So, for example, if I want to go easily view the planet Jupiter, maybe through a telescope or something like that, what month of this year would be the best time for me to go do that if I want to do it in, the fairly early evening, 10 p.m.? So, even if it was summertime, by 10 p.m., it's pretty much getting dark around here. So that would be a good time to say, no matter when we go out, almost any night at 10 p.m., it should be getting dark around here. So answer this question, we've got to turn the Star and Planet Finder over. And this is where we use this portion of the Star and Planet Finder. So in the year 2022, we look for Jupiter, and we see that it's mostly in the constellation AQR right now. And down here, if you don't know what those stand for, AQR is Aquarius. Okay, Aquarius. So Jupiter's pretty much in Aquarius right now. It'll eventually move over to Pisces, and then Cetus, or Cepheus, that's, I think, probably Cetus, and then back into Pisces. Or, what is CET? Okay, that must be a constellation that's not in the zodiac here, right? So we'll have to look on our Star and Planet Finder as we look for this. It's going to be somewhere, but right beside Pisces, obviously, because it moves into that constellation and comes back into Pisces later in the year. So we've got to basically look for the constellations Aquarius, Pisces, and whatever the CET is. And so what we do is we turn the Star and Planet Finder over here, and let's look for, okay, well, here's Pisces. Here's Pisces. Clearly, here's Pisces. And so the constellations near that should be, we should see some other constellation. Okay, here's Aquarius. That was the other one that was mentioned. And then here's Cetus, right? C-E-T, Cetus. So Jupiter's going to be in this range of the sky over the course of this year, right? Right now, it's pretty much probably over in here, might even be over in here. It's going to be somewhere along this dotted line. Typically, the planets, you know, not exactly on the dotted line, but that dotted line is the ecliptic. That's kind of the plane of our solar system. So most planets, almost all the planets are going to be fairly close to this ecliptic line at all times. So probably right now, planet Jupiter's down in here, right? And then over the course of the seasons, it'll move up here closer to maybe into Pisces. Then it maybe moves up here a little further towards Cetus, which is a little further this direction, and then probably comes back into Pisces later in the year. So it's pretty much this range where the planet Jupiter is going to be this year. So if I want to see it pretty high in the sky at this time of year, I'd need to make Aquarius. I mean, my best option is Aquarius, okay, which is setting Aquarius pretty much along my meridian, as high up off the horizon as I could get it. And so if I look at this, you know, Aquarius, putting Aquarius pretty high up in the sky, about as high as I can get it up in the sky. If I look at the time 10 p.m., I see that is pretty much October. 10 p.m. on what, October maybe 7th? Jupiter will be, well, remember in October, if we flip back over, in October, Jupiter will be in Pisces. And so let's go back and do a slight correction here. So by that time of the year, Jupiter may be over in here a little bit more. Okay. So if we look now at about 10 p.m., yeah, it looks like the end of October, beginning of November. So maybe the best month, though, really, because it may even move up over here a little bit. So maybe the best month, if you want to look at it in the early evening, is going to be, you know, mid-October to mid-November. Probably like November maybe would be the best month. So right now, we're not going to be able to see the planet Jupiter, really. It's going to set shortly after sundown for us right now. This is not a particularly good year for observing planets early here in the semester. Okay, so question 9 says, at what time would be your best time to observe the planet Jupiter tonight, and where should you look? Okay, so we go, again, tonight, we set January, if we want to go outside tonight, well, you know, they say what time tonight. So we're going to go ahead and just start with maybe like 10 p.m., set our Star and Planet Finder, January 18th, 10 p.m., like we were doing at the beginning of this whole process. And now we're going to look, and remember, Jupiter is going to be, well, it looks like, see, here's Pisces and Cetus. So Jupiter, remember, at this time is in Aquarius, which is over here. It's probably going to set by then. So this is the difficulty at this time of year for us trying to see Jupiter, okay? There's Aquarius. There's Aquarius. So Jupiter is going to be somewhere about over in here at this time of year. And you notice already, if we look here on January 18th, it's probably going to, you're going to have to look. For example, if you look, January 18th here, we're like short of 8:30 p.m. even. So if you want to catch Jupiter, if you want to see Jupiter at this time of year, you're going to have to probably look right after sundown, right? As soon as the sky starts to get dark, and look towards the west. The west, maybe a little south of west, okay, is where you'd want to look. And you should see a pretty bright, it'll look like a star, but it won't blink or flicker or anything like that. It'll be a nice solid bright light. And it's fairly bright, and it'll be somewhere, you know, in the sky here, okay? So it may be blocked by buildings or trees unless you're out where it's nice and flat, okay? Now, the last question is, can we observe the planet Saturn at this time of year of 2022? Well, again, we turn this over. 2022, we look for Saturn. Saturn this time of year is in the constellation that's abbreviated Cap, and it pretty much stays there you know, the whole year for the most part. And so if we go down here and look at Cap, that's Capricornus, I believe. Okay, it's not listed here, but Cap stands for Capricornus. And so if we flip this back over and we look, we've got to find, you know, again, somewhere along the ecliptic is typically the constellations that you'll find the planets in, right? So, you know, looking down in here, you know, for planets or up here towards the North Star is not good places to look for the planets. Planets will be along this dotted line here. And so as we turn this, we're looking for Capricornus, right? So we're looking for the constellation Capricornus. as a marker for where Saturn might be. Here it comes. Here is Capricornus right down here. So Saturn's going to be somewhere about in here, okay, this year. Okay, and again, remember Saturn orbits the sun as well, so it will change its positions over time, but Saturn's pretty far from the sun, so it takes a while to change its position. It's going to be in this area of the sky for, you know, over the course of our year, down in here, near Capricornus. Okay, and so if I put that pretty high up, you know, or close to the meridian or something, well, actually, you notice it may be a little higher. Well, it's pretty much probably going to be about as high in the sky as we can get it, right about here. And as we look in the early evening, that's going to be, oh boy, that's going to be in October or September. Maybe in September. Well, again, October, the sun's still going to be up about 7 p.m. probably. So we're going to have to look for that in September or August probably is when we're going to see Saturn pretty high in the sky. So if we look, this time of year, it's January. And if we watch Capricornus here, right there, if we watch what happens to that as we bring January up here, look what happens. It sets below the horizon. Do you see that? There goes Capricornus. As I turn this, it sets below the horizon. So even by 6 p.m. on January 18th, Capricornus is pretty much setting. Jupiter's going to be gone. So this time of year, by the time it's dark to go out observing, Saturn is going to be set below the western horizon. So we're not going to be able to see Saturn at this time of year, okay? Because then as the course of the night goes on, it's way down below the horizon, right? As we go past midnight, and then what time will it start to come up off the horizon again? Let's look for it coming up off the horizon again. Oh, gee, where's January? Yeah, about 8 a.m. So it's already light by 8 a.m. So yeah, we can't see Saturn this time of year. Okay, so there's some help, hopefully, on learning to use the Star and Planet Finder. I hope you are able to make use of it through the years, maybe this semester, and into the future in your life. It's nice, again, because you do not need an internet connection, and it allows you to answer those sorts of questions pretty easily. You don't have to mess around a whole lot, so if you're out where it's really, really dark, away from lots of city lights, and you don't have good cell phone reception, this is a very nice device to have. So hope you enjoyed this little video, and good luck.